Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I'm Lola. If you enjoy what you see here, please support our channel by subscribing down below.
And if you've already subscribed, thank you very much. And I award Gryffindor House 50 points.
So today we are talking about Almost Words. Almost Words is a unique word-based party game that is actually produced in our local city of Edmonton, Alberta. Because of that, we have something a little bit special today. We have an interview with a member of the team. They have a really unique story about how this game came to be, so you'll want to stick around. Before we get to the interview, we're going to give you a quick overview of how to play it by Natalie.
Almost Words is a party game made for people who love word games and hate word games. Players are given 10 tiles and 2 minutes to create a response to a topic that is pulled from a deck of cards. The tiles are specially designed to be any letter or number that you need them to be, depending on which way they are oriented. Spelling and grammar don't matter as you craft whatever response you want. You can use the tiles as letters, numbers, or symbols to create a picture, a word, or a phrase to impress the judge and win the card for that round.
Hi, and welcome back. We're here today with Natalie from Honorwood Games, and we're going to be talking about their new game right on Kickstarter at this moment called Almost Words. So how does it feel having your game be successful on Kickstarter right now?
It's so exciting. We are really excited that we met our goal so quickly and that we're starting the manufacturing process. So yeah, it's great. We're really excited.
Now, one thing that intrigued me when we were talking earlier, you mentioned that you've been playing this game for or some iteration of it for the last 10 years. Tell me more about that.
So the game was invented in some form in about 2013, we think, by my husband's family and their best friends that they grew up with. Some siblings of my husband's and some siblings of his best friend, and probably also Ben was there. They made it up, and then over the years, we played with, instead of word cards, with picture cards, and then word cards, different types of tiles. And yeah, it was kind of always our go-to party game because it allows for creativity with a little bit of constraint, so that instead of just having open-ended creativity that can be really overwhelming, or having closed-ended creativity where there's only 2 or 3 choices, we found that Almost Words really fit into that niche of giving people enough to play with that they could feel creative and clever, but not so much freedom that they're overwhelmed and can't do anything.
Yeah. No, that's really neat. I find that really fascinating that it's this organically grown game that you have played as a family and kind of like perfected over time with friends and stuff, and now you're bringing it to the real world and sharing that.
Yeah, which is really exciting. Actually, when we decided to do that, my brother-in-law Luke, who's on the team, was concerned that only people like us would find it fun. Like, does everyone else think this is fun, or are they just gonna think we're crazy? But so far we've had overwhelmingly positive reviews, and we've tested it with various age groups. I can confirm that our parents can play it, and your teenager and other people's teenagers. We haven't tried with like children, but that's okay. It's not really for little kids. And it works at varying levels of gamer as well. So if you have a group of people that really like to game and some that are fine with gaming, we found that works really well. One of my sisters-in-law doesn't like games at all, and specifically doesn't like word games at all. And she loved it. We were all kind of surprised because she went into it being like, well, I hate word games, but I'll try. And she was like, no, this is the best one. I love it. And so that was great to hear that people who love word games have enjoyed it, and people who hate word games have also enjoyed it.
Well, it seems to really offer something for everybody. And we played it for the first time tonight. She traveled far to our house and brought the prototype here, which is amazing and really beautiful. And, you know, I wasn't really quite sure what we would think about it. And it was so much fun. Like, we laughed. We had What I loved best about it is its freedom of creativity. So you have the letters that can be all sorts of different letters. The M, that can be the that could be the E, that could be the all the different iterations. But even playing with the tiles where they could be different shapes. And my daughter had fun with doing some specific I don't know, collages type thing that she was able to creatively explain and get off a win for it. So it was a really fun game to play. Yeah, we had a really great time with it.
Yeah, and removing the constraint of you have to use the letters as letters, you have to spell the words correctly.
Yeah.
All that's off the table. You can spell things funny. You can, like we said, just build a shape out of it, and just make a sculpture out of these tiles and ignore what's on them completely. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of creativity.
Yeah, I turned mine upside down and made a sad face.
Yeah.
It made sense in context. It was still fun.
So what is your role specifically in the creation of Almost Words?
So my role is primarily administrative.
Okay.
So I'm answering emails, DMing on socials. It's always me. So if you've been chatting with me, hi. It's me. It's always me.
Yeah.
And I've been talking with manufacturers as well as fulfillment centers, and I've got all of our spreadsheets, and I've got all the files. So yeah, I'm all of the boring stuff that needs to get done. That's me. And then my brother-in-law Luke is our artist and graphic designer, and he's great. He does amazing work. He's creating just beautiful. Every time we ask him to create something, it's better than it was in my head every time.
Fantastic.
He's great. And then my husband is our game designer, and also our writer. So he's the one that makes the rules actually make sense and be grammatically correct. He was telling me all about hyphens when he was like, no, you have to hyphenate that. I realized during the conversation I don't know what hyphens do. So the three of us kind of fill all of the holes of how to get this done, hopefully.
You guys make a really great team. It just, you've got the graphic design, you got the administrative stuff is so important, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that's able to do that, to be organized, and so we don't have a member of that for our team. That's our missing hole.
You definitely feel it if it's not there.
Yeah,
but then if it's there and we're doing our jobs, everyone forgets that administrators exist.
Yeah. Well, now, are there any future plans for Honorwood Games for future games, or is this kind of like a one-off idea and a one-off game?
We don't know yet. We're gonna see how it goes. We have 2 games that are like very preliminary, like sticky notes and like paper that actually started our journey where we were playing these games. And then we were like, well, if we're going to do this, we should do Almost Words that's already done, figure out the process, see if we can, see if anyone is interested in a tiny publisher. So depending on kind of how Almost Words goes, we will continue with the other games that we have. I guess 2 and then kind of 3, because I made a game. I'm a piano teacher, and I made a game for my students, and we play it all the time in lessons. But it's definitely a teaching tool. And it works great, and the kids love it. But it's not like fun. But it works for teaching, and it's more fun than like, what's this and what's that? So we were thinking we might also produce like pedagogy games.
Okay.
But again, as teaching tools specifically, I understand that it's not like the sort of thing you would do for fun. So that's like kind of some of the future that could happen, depending on what goes on with Almost Words.
Yeah.
Because it's a big undertaking. It takes a lot of time. My husband has a full-time job. My brother-in-law has a full-time job. I have a part-time job and also young children at home, so like 4 full-time jobs.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah. The multiple jobs.
So it'll really depend. If we can turn this into something where we can give more of our time to it, we would all love that. But it'll really depend on what happens here.
Yeah. Great. Do you want to ask anything?
Oh, you kind of touched on it already. So how do you go about designing a game and bringing it to the point where it's ready for production?
Well, step 1, play it with your friends for so many years. That's probably not everyone's step one. That was our step one.
Yeah.
So our process was we had a game that we used with kind of like parts of other games that we would just put in a plastic bag. So what we did was we all sat down and we talked about things we would want to kind of improve, and we discussed like, oh, we were using like whatever we had in the house to hide our answers.
Okay.
Like a piece of paper or like whatever was on the table. And so we were like, we need a mechanic where this works. So it was a lot of talking, a lot of folding around a table, and then a lot of just sketches. And then like with the alphabet that we made, it went through a number of iterations in sketchbooks by hand or on the computer before it really like we figured out, okay, how many symbols do we need? Can we include all of the numbers and all of the letters in the least amount possible? So it was a lot of just going back and forth with that. And then we made a couple like really preliminary prototypes. I have it. Do you want to see like the first one?
Yeah.
So the first one was I ordered tiny wood tiles. I really wanted them to be square so that no matter which way they oriented, they would fit in a nice little line. So I bought like plain wood squares from the internet, and then we printed out on plain paper our alphabet, and then we like Mod Podged them on individually and like X-Acto knifed the edges. It took like 4 hours.
Nice
so then we
work.
did that. So thank you. So that we could play with them, and then we could also figure out like the distribution of the numbers, like how many letters are in the alphabet, and how many of our letters do we need in our alphabet, and how many of this is too many of this, because it's an E and it's a W and it's an M and it's a 3, and E is the most common letter in the alphabet. So but we can't have all of this. You can't make any words with, well, I mean, you can make, yes you can, because you can make mew
Or meme.
or meme
Yeah.
or ew. So there's lots of words that you can make with that. So we didn't need to do all the math. So then my husband did a bunch of math in spreadsheets for letter distribution.
Interesting.
He had so many spreadsheets, and I was like, you do you.
He's a spreadsheet guy too.
So I don't know the math that he used, but he had a lot of like mathy math. I looked at it.
Interesting.
And I was like, that is not my brain. That is your brain. So we did the distribution for that, and then for the words, we just like we kind of free associated just as many words as we could, and then we played with them and figured out which ones like didn't really work, that like didn't make any sense, or we got rid of anything that could potentially be like a copyright issue, and we got rid of anything that was like that fell flat or might be a trademark problem or anything like that. And then we went through and we spreadsheeted those, and we all picked our favorite, and we all like gave them different scores, and then we calculated all of our scores, and then we just took the best ones. There was a lot of spreadsheets involved.
Wow.
So it's a lot of spreadsheets. That's the answer.
So,
Spreadsheets.
has it been really a lot of work getting to the point where you're heading into development? And
Yeah, and probably more work than we thought, because when we started, we were like, oh, it's done, we're fine. But then we were like, oh, well, but then we'll need this, and then we'll need that, and then we'll need this, and I guess we need like all of the social medias and a website, and we need content. And so it really turned into, I think, more work than any of us were expecting. But oh my goodness, it looks so good. You should see the rendering.
well, it looks fantastic from the Kickstarter
Oh,
site.
thanks. Yeah. Oh, it looks so good. And all the Kickstarter graphics are, of course, done by Luke. And if you're following our socials, all the good ones are Luke. And then all of the other ones are me. So you can really tell. You can go through and you're like, that is Luke's work. It looks amazing. And that one is a cat meme. It's from me. But yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's really nice to be doing something like with our family who we love. And and like telling our siblings and this family friend and all of his siblings, like, hey, did you make this up? Can we use your game? And he was like, I didn't make it up. We thought you made it up. So
Yeah.
it's been quite a ride.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've actually really loved is just like the board game community. Like, I don't know if I've ever met nicer people.
It's a great community.
And everybody's just
I
so
agree.
happy and like happy to help and just so nice, and really supportive about my cat memes. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. It's such an amazing story, and thank you so much for coming tonight to share with us.
Thank you
the
for
game.
having me.
Oh, for sure. We're happy to support you. So check it out right now. It's on Kickstarter. We'll leave a link to that in the description below. It is a fantastic, fun game to play with a family, your friends. Anybody can play it, and it's. Yeah, we had a really great time tonight with
I'm
this.
glad. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thanks very much for watching, and stick around for more content. Happy gaming, folks.